Before we begin, lock your doors and turn off the lights. And if you are alone tonight, I wouldn't be, because the story you're about to hear was shared by someone who wishes they never experienced it. This is the Night Archive.
My mom has schizophrenia. That's the first thing everyone tells me to remember, so I'm putting it first here too. I'm not sure it explains anything, but if I don't start there, people will skip the rest and ask the same questions anyway. Did your mom ever see a psychiatrist? Yes. Was she medicated? Sometimes. Did she talk to people who weren't there? All the time. That was part of her illness I grew up around. The talking. No screaming, no ranting, nothing dramatic enough to make neighbors suspicious. Just this low, private murmur that came from behind closed doors, usually the bathroom door, while the shower fan hummed and the pipes knocked on the walls. When I was little, I thought she was on the phone. That made sense to me. Adults were always on the phone. My mom would disappear into the bathroom, and I'd hear her voice go soft and careful, the way people sound when they're saying something they don't want heard. Sometimes she'd laugh. Sometimes she'd pause for a long time. Sometimes she'd say no. No fear, no anger, just firm. No. Then, one day, I walked into the kitchen while she was in the bathroom and saw her phone sitting on the counter beside a pile of oranges. I remember that very clearly because one of the oranges had a soft green spot on it, and there was my mom's phone, face up, dead black screen. From the bathroom, I could still hear her talking. I stared at the phone for a long time. Then I looked at the bathroom door. Then I looked back at the phone. I didn't tell anyone. Adults think children don't notice things, but we notice everything. We just don't have the language for it yet. So we file things away under broad categories like Mom is tired, Mom is sad, Mom is talking to the bathroom again. That last one became normal in our house. She talked in the bathroom. She talked in the laundry room. She talked sometimes while washing dishes, her voice hidden under the water running. My dad came home early. When my sisters walked in, she stopped. If she noticed me watching, she would smile too fast and say, "What?" "Nothing," I'd say. I was a quiet child. Everyone said so. Teachers loved it at first. Quiet kids are easy to confuse with good kids. I didn't interrupt. I didn't ask for much. I could sit with my hands folded and my mouth closed so long that adults forgot I was there and said things around me they shouldn't have. My mom used to tell people I was the peaceful one. I wasn't peaceful. I was listening. When you grow up in a house where something is always happening, quiet becomes a survival skill. I learned the tiny sounds that meant my dad was irritated. I learned the difference between cabinets being closed normally and cabinets being closed as a warning. I learned when my mom's murmuring was casual and when it had that tight little wire running through it. I also learned not to talk to myself. Everybody talks to themselves. People rehearse arguments in the car. People narrate recipes when they cook. People sing in the shower. There are studies about it, I think. There's probably a very normal explanation for why humans fill empty rooms with their own voices. But in my house, talking when nobody was there meant something else. So I didn't do it. If I dropped something, I didn't say oops. If I was looking for my keys, I didn't mutter, where did I put them? If a song got stuck in my head, I kept it there. My mouth became the one door in the house I could keep shut. I'm telling you all this because 3 weeks ago, I heard my mother's bathroom voice come out of my own mouth. I moved into a small studio last year, the kind with gray, fake wood floors and a kitchen too narrow for two people to stand in unless one of them is okay being pressed against the fridge. My bathroom has no window, just a fan that turns on with the light and makes an uneven clicking sound every few seconds. I hate that fan. I hate the bathroom in general, honestly. Still, I had mostly gotten used to it. Then, 3 weeks ago, I got home from work, so exhausted. I felt hollowed out. I dropped my bag by the door, kicked off my shoes, and stood in the kitchen for a while without turning on the light. Eventually, I took a shower. The water was too hot. The fan clicked. The pipes made that old knocking sound behind the tile, exactly like the pipes in my childhood home. I was shampooing my hair when I heard someone say, I turned so fast I slipped and hit my shoulder against the wall. The shower curtain stuck to my leg. Water ran into my eyes. For a second, I couldn't breathe. No one was there. Of course no one was there. I live alone. I turned off the water and stood there dripping, listening. The fan clicked. The pipes knocked. My own breathing sounded embarrassingly loud. I told myself I was tired. I told myself auditory hallucinations can happen when you're stressed, sleep deprived, or expecting them. I told myself a lot of things very quickly, all inside my head, because even then, I didn't want to speak. Then my mouth opened. I didn't decide to open it. It just did. And in my voice, but not the voice I use with people, not even the voice I use when I'm alone and stub my toe and forget my own rules, I said,
I'm here.
I got out of the shower with shampoo still in my hair. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called my mom. We don't talk much. Not because I don't love her. It's complicated in the way families are complicated when love is present, but not enough to fix anything. She answered on the fourth ring. Hi, mija. She sounded normal. Tired, but normal. I almost hung up. Instead, I asked, when you used to talk in the bathroom, who were you talking to? The line went quiet. Not silent, but quiet. I could hear a television somewhere in the background and the soft scrape of her hand over the phone mic. What do you mean? She said. You know what I mean. Another pause. Then she laughed, but the laugh was too small. I was sick. I know, but what did it feel like? Mija, please. The television in the background kept talking. Someone in a commercial was very excited about a limited time offer. Finally, my mom said, it felt rude not to answer. Closed my eyes. What? It wouldn't wait, she said. That was the worst part. It could wait for hours, days sometimes. But once I heard it, I knew it had been waiting. I didn't say anything. It was easier in the bathroom, she added. Why? Because the water covered my voice. I wanted her to tell me something comforting after that. I wanted her to say she had been very sick then, that brains make patterns out of plumbing and loneliness, that I should call a doctor. I wanted her to become the adult in the room for once and hand me a normal explanation. Instead, she asked very softly, "Has it started with you?" I hung up. I spent the rest of the day Googling symptoms of schizophrenia. I read about genetic risk. I read about onset ages. I read about auditory hallucinations, disorganized thinking, stress, trauma, sleep deprivation, delusions. I took 3 online screening quizzes, even though every responsible website told me not to use them as diagnostic tools. I made an appointment with a psychiatrist. The earliest available was 6 weeks out. That night, I did not shower. The night after, I didn't shower either. By the 3rd day, my hair was greasy enough that I felt disgusting. So I stood outside the bathroom door for 10 minutes with a towel under my arm. Then, I turned on music from my phone. Not loud, just loud enough to make the room feel occupied. I showered with the curtain half open and the bathroom door unlocked. I kept my eyes open when rinsing my face. I said nothing. Nothing happened. For almost a week, nothing happened. When you're scared something is wrong with you, you start to miss the symptoms because at least the symptoms give shape to the fear. Without it, the fear spreads everywhere. I started noticing how much everyone talks to themselves. My coworker whispered, come on," at the printer. The woman in the grocery store sang one line of a song over and over while choosing tomatoes. My neighbor across the hall had entire conversations with his dog in a high-pitched voice. On the bus, a man in a suit muttered numbers under his breath and tapped each finger against his thumb. Normal things. Human things. Except they don't feel normal anymore. I kept thinking about all the ways people invite something in without meaning to. Singing in the shower, talking through panic, praying, counting, practicing a difficult conversation in the mirror, leaving a voicemail to someone who won't pick up, saying, "Hello?" into an empty house because something fell in another room. Maybe we were never alone in those moments. Maybe we just assumed that the voice that answered back was ours. The second time happened in the kitchen. I was chopping onions. The knife slipped. Not badly, just enough to nick my finger. A bright red bead of blood rose before I felt anything. Without thinking, I said,
Shit.
Then, from the hallway, something laughed. It was my laugh, not a stranger's laugh. Mine. But flattened somehow, like it had been recorded on old tape and played through a wall. I turned towards the hallway. There was nothing there. My studio is small. From the kitchen, I can see the front door, the bathroom door, part of the bedroom, and a little square of hallway between them. Nothing can hide there. Not a person, not even a child. The air looked wrong. I don't know how else to describe it. You know those very old cartoons from the 1920s or 30s, the black and white ones where everything moves too fast and too slow at the same time? The characters have rubber arms and dead little eyes and smiles that don't belong to mouths. They bounce, but not happily, like the film itself is having a seizure. The hallway looked like that for half a second. Like the hallway had become a frame from somewhere else. Jagged at the edges, flickering. Too many shades of gray. Then it was normal again. My finger was bleeding onto the cutting board. I wrapped it in a paper towel and I sat on the floor until my knees hurt. After that, I started recording myself. I put my phone on the bathroom counter when I showered. I left voice memos running while I cooked. I recorded myself sleeping, which I do not recommend if you already suspect you're losing your mind. People make horrible sounds when they sleep. Wet little clicks, breathing changes, teeth, sheets dragging against skin. For 4 nights, the recordings caught nothing but me being alive. On the 5th night, the sleep recording caught whispering. I found it in the morning because there was a spike in the audio around 2:12 a.m. At first, it sounded like static. Then, I turned the volume up. My own sleeping breath filled the room through the speaker. Under it, very faint, was my voice. Not talking, singing. It was a children's tune, and I recognized it but couldn't place it. Something old and circular. Something you'd hear from an ice cream truck with dying batteries. I listened to it 6 times. On the 7th, I realized there were 2 voices. Mine was the lower one. The other voice was higher and thinner, staying just behind me, almost matching. Like something was learning the song by following along. I sent the file to my sister. She called me 2 minutes later. "Delete that," she said. "No. Hello? No, what the hell? Just delete that." I asked her why. She said, "Because Mom used to do that." My sister is 4 years older than me. She remembers more. She told me that when I was a baby, before my mom was diagnosed, my mom used to sit beside my crib and hum for hours, one tune, over and over. She said it kept you calm, my sister said. Did it? Yes. I waited. "You were a quiet baby," she said. "Too quiet. Mom said that was why it liked you." I felt cold all the way down to my hands. What liked me? I don't know. She never said. I thought it was part of her illness. And now? My sister didn't answer. That night, I did something stupid. I went to my mom's house. I didn't want to confront her. Not really. I think part of me believed if I stood in the bathroom where it started, I could prove something to myself. Either there would be nothing there and I was sick, or there would be something there and I was sick in a different way. My mom lives alone in the same house I grew up in. Same cracked driveway, same orange tree in the back, same bathroom with the fan that roars when you turn on the light. When she opened the door and saw me, her face changed in a way I can't stop thinking about. Recognition. Like she had been expecting me, but not hoping. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "Amma, it's louder here." I almost left. I wish I had. Instead, I walked past her into the house. It smelled the same. Old wood, detergent, warm dust, oranges going soft in a bowl. The bathroom door was closed. I stared at it. From behind the door came the sound of trickling water. Her hands went to her mouth. "Didn't turn it on," she whispered. The water stopped. Neither of us moved. Then something knocked from inside the bathroom. 3 polite taps, like knuckles on wood. My mom began to cry, silently. Her whole face folded inward, but no sound came out. I think that scared me more than the knocking. My mom has always been noisy in her fear. Prayers, apologies, little bargains under her breath. But now, she was silent. She was quiet in her own house. The bathroom door opened by itself. Not all the way. Just an inch. Darkness inside. The light was off. so it shouldn't have looked like anything. It should have been a flat black rectangle. Instead, flickered. Black, gray, black, gray, dark. Something moved inside with that old film jerkiness. Not walking but appearing in pieces. A white glove first, or something like a glove. 4 long fingers opening and closing too slowly. Then a thin arm, black as ink, bending in the wrong place. Then, part of a face. I don't want to describe the face. The closest I can get is this. Imagine a smiling cartoon animal drawn by someone who had heard of joy but never seen it. Big oval eyes, a wet black nose, teeth like piano keys, edges trembling not because it was moving, but because it could not stay loaded in the room correctly. Its mouth open. My mother slapped both hands over my ears, hard, like I was a child again. Her mouth moved against my forehead. I couldn't hear the first part. Then, she pulled me close and screamed directly into my hair.
Don't answer
The thing in the bathroom tilted its head. It did not look at her. It looked at me. And I understood then, in the simple animal part of my brain, that my mom had never been talking to herself. She had been keeping it busy for years, maybe decades. A mother's voice thrown again and again into the dark so it wouldn't notice the quiet child listening from the hallway. My mom shoved me toward the front door. I ran. I did not look back until I was in my car. The bathroom window faces the driveway. It's small and frosted, too high to see through clearly. Something black and white flickered behind it. I drove away. I know exactly what you're thinking. Why didn't you call someone? I did. I called my sister. She went over the next morning with her husband. My mom was fine. Tired. Angry at me for leaving, which is fair. She said nothing happened. She said I had upset myself. She said I should talk to a doctor. My sister said the bathroom was normal. No sign of anything. My mom has not answered my call since. My psychiatry appointment is still 3 weeks away. I'm trying to be rational. I'm trying really hard. I have written down everything that happened so I can show it to the doctor. I've been sleeping with the lights on. I stopped recording myself because listening made it worse. I do not shower without music. I do not cook without a podcast playing. I do not allow silence to gather in the studio, but I started finding the gaps. The few seconds after a video ends, before the next one begins, the pause between songs, the dead air after my microwave beeps. Yesterday, my laptop froze while I was watching a show. The image stuck on a woman's face mid-blink, her mouth half open, pixels blocky around her teeth. From the bathroom, very softly, something said my name. I didn't answer. Turned on every light in the apartment and sat on the floor with my back against the front door until morning. I don't want a diagnosis. I know what this sounds like. I know family history matters. I know stress matters. I know I may be taking a childhood fear and building a monster. Maybe that's all this is. Maybe my mother was sick, and now I am too. But before you decide, I want you to do something. Not now, if you don't want to. Later, when your home is quiet. Stand in your bathroom with the fan on, or your kitchen with the sink running, or your car after you turn the engine off, and the world rushes in around you. Notice how quickly your own voice wants to fill the space. A hum, a cough, a little comment to nobody, a song you don't remember choosing. Ask yourself, why silence feels so empty? Ask yourself who taught you that an empty room needs to be answered. Then, Don't say anything. See how long it waits. Made it 11 minutes tonight. It's the longest I've managed all week. At 11 minutes and 13 seconds, my reflection in the dark TV smiled before I did. Not a big smile, a polite one. Patient. Then my mouth opened. I heard my mother's bathroom voice come out again. I'm going to type exactly what I said because I don't remember thinking it. I don't remember choosing the words. I only remember how relieved I felt once the silence finally broke. I said,
Sorry I kept you waiting.